Today is April 25th, 2024. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, a few things today. On the campaign trail, Joe Biden, fearless leader, was speaking about Donald Trump. And he accused Trump of making a, quote, a political deal with the evangelical base of the Republican Party to look past his moral and character flaws, unquote. So Trump is making a deal. So let's say, I like to use the word, he's pandering. He's pandering to the evangelical base of his supporters. And so what's he's appealing to their pro-life convictions, or he's talking about morality, or he's talking about crime or fentanyl. He's talking to his evangelical supporters to get their votes. He's pandering. He's making them a deal. Well, I guess my political question is, what is inherently wrong in pandering? So I've got a few examples of Joe Biden or liberal pandering. Well, let me get just the liberal pandering out of the way first. Remember a few years ago when in the state of Michigan, there was a referendum that legalized marijuana on the ballot. And that passed overwhelmingly, primarily because young people, college students, flocked to the polls in huge, overwhelming numbers because they liked the idea that they could smoke marijuana. And I think that was also the same election that Gretchen Whitmer won for her first term as governor. But the Democratic Party pandered to the pro-pot smoking voter by saying, yeah, vote for us, and this is going to be on the ballot, and we will legalize marijuana. Okay, that's pandering. Joe Biden cancels college student loan debt, which actually the Supreme Court's already said is not even constitutional, but he did it anyway. Or he's I think on two different occasions now he's just gone ahead and done it to help his groups. That's pandering to college students to vote for him, as opposed to staying home. I mean, I'm not expecting them to vote for Donald Trump, but they might have stayed home. But now he's pandering to them so they could vote for him. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not illegal, but it is pandering. He's making them a deal. Biden calls on Israel to make a deal or to have a ceasefire in Gaza. So is he pandering to his Muslim voters, especially the ones in Michigan, to vote for him or to decide not to stay home? But is he pandering to the Muslim voters by trying to put pressure on Israel to a ceasefire? Is that pandering? So on day one, he pandered to the day one of his presidency, pandered to the environmentalists by stopping the construction of the Keystone Pipeline. Is that illegal? No, but it is pandering. So when he attacks pro-lifers for wanting to save babies, he is not, here again, the he is Trump. He is not pandering. He is not pandering. He is appealing. Maybe that's a better word. He's appealing. But this issue of pandering is kind of a convoluted buzzword that applies to both parties. Both parties have been trying to wet the pot, for decades. Okay. If Biden attacks pro-lifers for wanting to save babies, is he not pandering to his pro-abortion radical friends? Biden claims to be this good, faithful Catholic. We just saw just a few days ago where he's at a rally and he makes a sign of the cross. I think it might have been a pro-abortion rally. How ludicrous is that? Maybe ludicrous is the wrong word. Outrageous that he would use a Catholic outward symbol at a pro-abortion rally. Anyway, he panders to the pro-abortion radicals. So if he claims to agree with his church that life begins at conception, but then votes 100% of the time the other way, is he not pandering to his political allies at the expense of what his faith teaches? Okay. Sure, Donald Trump has flaws in his character, moral failings. He does. Nobody is denying that. But a lot of presidents have had moral flaws. And here's just a partial list of some of our presidents who have not been as faithful, in their marriages. Bill Clinton, Lyndon Johnson, John Kennedy, Franklin Roosevelt, Warren Harding. There may be some more, but those are the ones that came to my mind especially. In general, pro-lifers have voted on policy, not on personal demeanor or on lifestyle, but on policy. Okay. Big news this week. On Tuesday, the Arizona State House, actually I think it was the state Senate, voted on Tuesday to repeal the state's 1864 law that had been resurrected, so to speak, after the state Supreme Court brought it to life again. This old law became enforceable again, and almost immediately there were cries to repeal this law. Almost immediately, obviously from Democrats, but even some Republicans. Trump said it went too far. Some other prominent Republicans said it was too far, needed to be changed. So it went to the state, and it was voted on. All the Democrats voted yes to repeal, and 3 Republicans voted to repeal as well. So now it's going to go to, I'm not sure now if it's the House or the Senate, but it goes to the next chamber, probably in the first week of May. And they're going to decide if they want to repeal this law. And the governor's already said, if they repeal the old 1864 law, I will sign it. But then things are still kind of in flux, because what becomes, I don't know what the wording is on what the repeal says, but it falls back to the 15-week abortion limit that was passed back in 2023, I believe. So that would be the law of the state, the 15-week ban. But then there's another wrinkle, because the pro-abortion groups have collected signatures, and they have put it on the ballot this November that would codify abortion rights in the state constitution. Just like Issue 1 in Ohio, Proposal 3 in Michigan, and other states, that's their winning strategy, is to go to a constitutional amendment change. That's what their strategy is. And it may pass. I don't know. Arizona is kind of a mixed bag. They used to be more reliably Republican, but of late they have been much more purplish. They've been supporting Democrats as well. But it's hard to say where that's going to go. But that's going to be on the ballot. This codifying Roe v. Wade, basically codifying abortion rights in the Constitution. So that would probably nullify the 15-week limit. So everything is in disarray, I would say. Okay, yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court heard oral argument on this case out of Idaho. I've talked about this before. Idaho bans abortions. They had a law in 2022. They banned abortions basically from conception, except for, I think, the life of the mother. And the Biden Justice Department challenged the law, saying that the law violates the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. Now, the act was passed back in 1986, and it provided for care for the pregnant woman and her unborn child. And there's no mention in this act about abortion, none at all. But the government is claiming that the Idaho law must provide abortions if a woman is having a medical situation, because the Idaho law is in violation to this Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. Okay. Based on the questions by the justices, there's a good chance that the conservative majority will vote to uphold Idaho's pro-life law. That's a big if. You don't really know until the opinion is decided sometime this summer. But there's a possibility that it could be a 5-4 pro-life victory, a 5-4 pro-life vote. It's possible. No guarantees, but maybe before the election we will have another Supreme Court pro-life victory. With that, I'll let you go. I will see you next time.